Hello. Okay, so I'm trying something a little bit different now. I know this is strange. I'm actually going to be, you're going to watch me write the notes today. You will not see my face. I just want you to imagine a really good looking Brad Pitt. Okay? So think of my face, a really good looking Brad Pitt, maybe wearing a mask, depends if somebody walks in or not, but your choice. Okay, so we're going to be talking about Unit 10 today, and we're going to start this idea of geometric drafting. And what we're going to really do is we're going to start using some of those tools that I gave you. I gave you this one of these tools here. It's kind of opens up. We can make circles and things. It's kind of nice. I got this thing here. We might be able to use this a little bit later on when we get to it. Definitely got an eraser. It came in your packet. It's got a little pencil sharpener. Make sure that you keep those pencils sharp. The sharper it is, the easier it is to construct. And then, of course, a ruler and things. And so anyway, I want to go through and make sure that we start with some symbols and we understand what symbols that I'm talking about. So you're going to see these symbols when I start writing out these directions, and I want you to understand what they stand for. So the first symbol you're going to see is a big letter, so a capital letter, and I put A here. And I don't mean, oh wow, it really focuses on my hand here. So it's whenever I use a capital letter, I'm indicating a point. So this capital letter indicates a point. All right, so I hope this is going to maybe make you feel a little sick because it's going to be becoming focused and out of focus, but it's the best we can do right now. The next symbol we got is these two straight lines, and it's kind of hard to print them, so on your copy you'll sort of see what I'm talking about. So many times when I'm writing, I'm going to just use exaggerated lines like this, and what it means is this means parallel. And reminder, parallel are two lines that never cross. This is not a great definition, but it's for the example that I'm doing right now. I think it's going to make some sense. But just imagine railroad tracks or the the edges of a road. Those railroad tracks never cross. They stay the same distance apart, and they travel off into space. Okay, our next symbol is going to be this T. Again, if you see me write it, I'm going to be pretty exaggerated with it like this. And what that upside down T means is perpendicular. And what perpendicular are two lines that intersect to create these 90-degree angles. And you'll know that I'll label these 90 with a little a square, a little box that's in there. Okay, our next symbol is just going to be this little angle, and usually I have a little line through it. So actually, if I'm drawing it, it's going to look something like this, and that just represents angle. So many times I'll talk about create an angle or make an arc or an angle of some sort. It's going to look like that. When I use two letters like AB, if I have an arc on top of them, a little arc like that, and if I was going to draw this, it'd be AB with that arc on it. Well, that literally means an arc. That's like part of a circle from point A. Now you can see why I like to use these capital letters. I don't need to write the word point every time. From point A to, and I'm not going to write it this time, B, and you can see why I like using these capital letters. It saves me writing. So it's going to actually look something like this, A to B. That would be arc AB. Great. Now if AB had a straight line on top of it, then I'm actually talking about a segment, AB with a line segment on top of it, and then I'd be a segment from, and again, I'm just going to say A, and that means point A to B, to point B. All right, and so it'd be something like this, where an A is here and a B is here. Next, if I use this little C with a, whoops, let's try this again. Kind of died on me here. Hold up, don't die. 95% charge, that's good. When I use that C, that means I'm talking about a circle with the center at point A. So again, if I'm drawing a circle that has a center of A, I would use C with the A in the middle. Now if it's a circle with the center of B, I would use the same thing except I have B at C with the B in the middle. My last thing here on my definitions is when I use the symbol RAB. So let me draw it here. It's RAB. And what that says is R in this case stands for radius. Radius, and the radius is this segment AB. So if I had a circle here and had this A, so this would be my circle at point A, and I knew that the radius went from A to B, I would say my radius is AB. And that tells me that from A to B is the distance from the center to each point. Okay, so I know a lot of talk, blah, 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 but we need to have these symbols in mind and be able to understand these symbols when I start to explain to you how to do some things using your tools that I just gave you. So let's start that. So I'm going to actually move this up just a little bit so we can sort of see it here. Hope it's okay. Just give me some feedback. Tell me how this is going. If filming it this way works. I know it's weird not seeing me. I think it's weird too. So I feel like it's weird too. So don't worry. Okay, so let's find the midpoints of a segment. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to find the midpoints of a segment using those tools that we have. So let's suppose that we have a line segment AB, and we'll just go A to B. So on your notes, draw this line segment A to B. In fact, maybe we should use our ruler here. Let's make sure this is a nice straight line. Okay, so good. I got a line segment AB. Feeling all good about that. And my job is I want to find the midpoint of that segment. I want to find where what cuts AB in half. Okay, so I'm given this line segment AB. And I want to say, how can I find the midpoint? So here's the way I do it. So it says, I am going to make a circle with the radius that's bigger than half of AB. So I'm going to come here, and this is I've got my protractor here, so it lets me draw circles. So here's my protractor, and I want to make sure that from B, and it goes past halfway. So you could say that this is about halfway, so I'm going to go here. This is obviously past halfway. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a circle, and actually we really don't need to make a whole circle. We're just going to make kind of a half circle here that kind of comes here and here. Oops, and mine went off the page, but luckily I have some paper underneath it so I can sort of see it. And then I've done that. It's bigger than half of AB. And then I'm going to go to B and make another circle from B. Oops, I just kind of pushed it. So you want to make sure that see how this radius wants to be the same. I want to make sure that the radius of this circle that I just drew from A to this point is going to be exactly the same as the radius from the second point. So I'm going to make another circle. And we can kind of see that there. Oops, so to make sure that this kind of goes here, I need to make sure this, kind of my paper moved a little bit, but make sure it goes to there, good. Okay, so I've created a radius that's bigger than half from both A and both B. And I want to find the two intersections. So notice that this point right here is the intersection of the arc that was made from B and from the arc that was made from A, and I'll call it, actually, why don't I call it C? And notice that down here, I know it's harder to see because it's my paper underneath, but there is a point down here where the arc from A intersected the arc from B, and we'll call this D. Okay, so now that I've got these 2 points, I've got these 2 intersections, and it says find the 2 intersections. That's what my next thing says. It says find the 2 intersection points and connect. So I'm going to take my ruler now, and I'm going to connect C and D, and you can sort of see that I go right there. I'm going to connect those together with a straight line. Now, it says M, this point right here, M, that intersection, we'll call M, is the new midpoint. It is the midpoint. M, this distance, AM, this distance here, is the same as BM. Those two are exactly the same. M cuts this segment in half. So that's kind of nice, but there's also a little note here, an unintentional benefit. The unintentional benefit is that we've also created a perpendicular line. It's not only the midpoint at M, it's also the perpendicular bisector. CD is perpendicular and it's bisecting AB. So we actually found 2 things on that one little piece, so that's kind of cool. Okay, great. So that's kind of fun. That was kind of our first example. So let's move on to our next piece of notes here. So I'll actually move this here. All right, a bit of notes. Okay, make sure we can see what's going on here. Great. And so now we're going to do our second construction. In this thing, what we're going to do is we're going to divide a line into M parts. Now I put quotations on M because we can split it up into any number of parts that we want. So it depends on what how many parts we want. So let's start with the line segment. Again, it says given this segment AB. So let's start with an A and a B. I'm just going to draw a point A, and I'll put a point B over here. I'll connect them and make it nice and straight. Now again, it doesn't matter what side I'm using. Doesn't matter what side I'm using. It only matters because I don't care how long it is. I just care that it's straight. So that looks like it's a pretty good straight line. I got my points A and B. Okay, so my directions say first thing we want to do is we want to draw AC below this line. So I want to draw A. There is no point C, so we want to create a C down here. And we're going to draw A to C. And it doesn't matter how long, it doesn't matter how far. The only thing it said is it has to be below this line. So we drew it below this line. Great. And then what it says is that's fine and dandy. It's just very good. It says now draw a line, mark M equal parts separated on AC. So let's suppose, how many segments do you want to cut AB into? 4? Okay, let's cut it into 4 parts. So let's suppose in this case M is 4. So we're going to cut it into 4 parts. So what they're saying is take my protractor, okay, no, we don't want that, we want this, sorry. Take my compass, and we're going to actually break in 4 segments along AC. So I'm actually going to come A, and actually I don't know, I just want it to fit, so I'm going to say, well, if this is about half, I'll cut that about to here. It doesn't really matter if it reaches to the end of C or it goes past it for that matter. But what we want to do is we want to make 4 equal parts. So I want you to see that I'm going to keep this segment down here so that I have that point, and then I'm going to make an arc. Oops, it kind of moved a little bit. I have to make sure I keep it. That arc, you see how that arc kind of crosses that line? And then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to do it again. So this will make my second section here. All right, look okay? So now I've got 1 piece, 2 pieces. Now I'll make a 3rd piece, and you can see I'm going to go past it, but it doesn't really matter. 3rd piece, so I got 1 section, 2 section, 3 section, and I'm going to need to make a 4th section here. And I'm going to need to, as you can see, and it doesn't really matter, but what matters is that 4th section is past C, but I can just extend that line. So we're just going to extend that line past C so that we got those 4 sections. Let me make sure that's okay. Boom. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so I've cut that line, or I've made 4 sections on it, and then notice my my step. That's step 2. We made 4 marks. Step 3 says draw a line between the last point and B. So I'm going to draw this. This is my last point here. So I'm going to draw the line between B and that last point. Okay, so that looks good. All right. So now it says draw parallel lines from each of those points. So parallel, just a reminder, is do you see how my green is bending? I just want to pull my green so that it's moving at equal distance. So you can see that as I'm pulling away from that line, that I'm moving the same until I get to that next point. This next point right here, and eventually this point here, and this point here. But I'm going to take this line, right, like this, and I'm going to pull it away, and as I get to this and I go, oh, parallel, look, parallel, I'm going to draw that line. And notice it's going to intersect my AB, but I'm going to keep going until I get to the next point. Okay, great, I got to my next point. I'm going to draw that line. And I'm going to pull back. Oops, I want to stay the same. I'm going to pull back until I get to the last line. Boom. And then I'm going to draw that point. I'll draw that line. Okay, so what I've done now is I've had these new intersections. I've got an intersection here, I've got an intersection here, I've got an intersection here. But the more important part is that I've created 1, 2, 3, 4 congruent segments. So I've literally taken AB and I have split it into 4 sections. Now, you can do that for any number of sections. So you make it 3 parts, 10 parts, whatever you want to do, as long as you make these arcs the same distance apart. Okay, moving on to our third and final